sent you guys and gals out a draft, so hopefully you all have had a chance to look at it. I took some liberties. You have one?
No.
I took some liberties when I added the conflict of interest. I used the dates of the one we signed middle of last year and just put signed and then put the dates. I didn't want y'all's signatures except for the file copy that I'll keep. I'll have it, I'll scan it and put it on that hard drive. And then once we get moving again, then I'll give you the hard drive and go with it. To me, the only real things that I added, y'all remember back when we started talking about this, I was fed up with our predecessors that left us absolutely nothing to go with. So I've spelled out responsibilities for the elected officers to include required paperwork at the IRS level, which are the 990s, and then the franchise tax paperwork until we get the exemption from the Secretary of State. You'll notice that the conflict of interest policy is in the bylaws now. And the very last page, which I'll have all of y'all sign one, is an annual requirement that we review the conflict of interest and then certify with your signatures. And I'll only have the individual sheets. And again, we won't have your signatures out for everybody else. I think everybody realizes that our treasurer has taken the old account that we never found the checkbook for and put it in the bank. And as of the latest statement that Laura just gave me, now that we've added money, the bank's taking $5 out of mine. And we're sitting $5,417.15. I got an email last Friday from Mr. Rosenberg. And out of that, the good news is that on the last working day, I believe it was in October, the Secretary of State now has reinstated us. So I had asked Mr. Hug, who is a lawyer out of the firm, on the 19th of December, what was the status? And he said, well, didn't you get the email? I said, I've got nothing. As it ends up, they haven't done anything through me asking that question on the IRS. I never got anything from Mr. Hug. So at the Christmas thing, and then last Thursday night, I again hit Mr. Rosenberg, who finally sent me an email. And in that email, he said that Monday I would be in receipt of the package going forward to the IRS, and that I could review it, make changes, and then he has a law office down here across from the trail. What's it called?
Trail Rider.
Trail Rider, somewhere in that neighborhood. Right, in fact, right next door to you, isn't he?
You.
And that we could sign it. We're going to incur a $400 fee to get our IRS 501c3. So until we get that, if you do any kind of solicitation for funds or pieces of equipment, et cetera, we don't have a quorum.
Man, I was trying to get in. I put them on Guyver, Keeson, and the other door. MacGyver.
I'm like, what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we now have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting of order. And our chaplain's not here. Does anybody want to volunteer to do our opening invocation? Okay, then I'll do it. So if you bow with me. Heavenly Father, smile upon this group of volunteers who wish to better our community. Give us the wisdom to create those actions, which not only improve our physical parks and recreational facilities, but also our spiritual well-being. Watch over our deployed people who may be in harm's way, so that they may return to the families that they left behind. Be with those remaining at home and comfort them during the absence of their loved ones. guide our city government in the stewardship to our residents, bless our elected officials in the state and federal level, and give them the guidance. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, I'm gonna ask in the citizens' comment, we only got 2 citizens, so I'm gonna ask our, as of October, city manager, if she would like to address the group. But before you know me, Michelle, you know Alex and George, this is Thomas Robles. This is Miss Henrietta Turner. So I'll give you the floor to do what you need to do, and you're sure welcome to join us up here instead of sitting back there. You can be. We'll just get all together.
I don't want to invite myself.
It's your city.
It's your meeting, it's your meeting. I just want to say thank you, and thank you, your president, for coming and giving me a full understanding in the history. He provided me some more documents to read, and I'm looking forward, and I'm excited at what we do for the parks. I was really happy that he told me Alex was part of the team, because we couldn't do our park without Alex, and so he's at the table and he's here at First Dawn. So we're really, really excited about that. And I'm just here to drink it all in and see what we can do to help facilitate the Park Foundation. And congratulations on all your hard work and heavy lifting to be resilient. Must feel good. And I hear we have this wonderful dollar, so we need to work on that dollar account so we can get that money spent and maybe get some grants. So I'm just here to help, to roll up my sleeve, I don't have that, to pitch in and let's get started. Thank you so much.
Pete, you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for allowing me to sit in here too as well. I think you answered a lot of my questions that I have already, as it pertains to the Secretary of State and where we stand, where you stand as far as your 501c3 and all that. So, you know me, I'm always just ready and willing to help along with that and together. But is there anything that I can do and offer, any suggestions or physical help to get out there with the parks? I'm ready and willing and able.
And to dovetail on what Pete just said, he's talked to me about, he likes to do long rides on bicycles. He's participated in the annual event at Lavernia, or Pope, to where he's even suggested as perhaps a fundraiser for us to sponsor one, and then map out a trail. As I've already said when we were introducing everybody too, they did pony up about $1,044 for it, so thanks for that. At I want to do citizen comments also. One of the recent city council meetings, one of our directors, Mr. Robles himself, came to me and asked about a couple of ideas that he had. One was a river park to do maybe some boats and stuff, and the other thing was a bowling alley. Well, lo and behold, the next Friday morning after that Thursday meeting, I get an email from the chamber, which we're members of, by the way. We're the non-paying member, but anyhow, somebody, I guess, is looking to do a bowling alley. So I had asked Thomas, when I sent out the announcement to all of our board members, if he would be ready to brief, and I didn't get it into the agenda. So again, using the leeway, if you will, of the citizens' comments, I'm going to ask Mr. Robles to explain why, when I ask him for 2 subjects, you give me this 37-issue list of things to do. If you would give the group a real quick talk to your concerns.
I did this because I was researching all over, to better the city of Floresville. And if you go on the website, this is Parks and Recreations, there's nothing there that, about Parks and Recreations. If you go to the other cities, it covers a lot of areas. And these are just some things that might help us promote the city, because I feel that this city has a lot of potential, but the problem is that we're not maximizing our potential here. And one of the things that I was telling Mr. Doug was, the bowling alley. The school tax office down over by, Kent Street and 97 right there, it's been vacant for the longest, you know. Since we're Parks and Recreation, I figured that maybe we can do a research and find out. I emailed those guys, AMF, and they sent me back and they said, well, you know, you can get it going if you have a building and you have such things and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know if we can get it all to make that happen, or I'm speaking out of you know, turn. But, I think that it would be an ideal place because the school's right there and kids can come out of school and go out there and bowl. They might even put a class in there for bowling for the kids, you know, during, you know, sports. They can, you know, go out there and eat, and I think there's a big revenue in that. I think there's like a 4-year turnaround on revenue on bowling alley. They can be paid off within 4 years. But, you know, and that's what I was going through this whole thing, and that's, you know, you wondering what I was doing here. Well, there's just, you know, there's a lot of things in here that I could go through the whole thing, but it's a lot. But I'll just pass it around, let y'all read it, look at it, and just take whatever, like the meat, because I think that, you know, that we can do some good things here in Floresville. It's like a water park, you know, Splash Town South in Floresville. I spoke to those guys too, and they tell me that all we need is 15 acres. You know, again, there's revenues for the city, you know, but I'm thinking military. I'm retired from the military, and I'm thinking military. MWR, recreations, you know, from morales and stuff like that. I think that park and recreation should be a separate entity from the city of Floresville, where money can be turned around for parks, restrooms, and stuff like that. And I think that's what we can, you know, make jobs and develop recreation for kids and stuff like that. And you know, to the community, you know, and what does it do? Eliminates a lot of domestic violence, if you ask me, when you put stuff like this, because they're out there doing things, you know, to have fun with the families and stuff like that, instead of going all the way to New Braunfels, instead of going all the way to Corpus and stuff like that. And that's what I was asking Mr. Does about, stuff like that. And these are things that I put out on the internet from different cities, different parks, different, you know, just ideas, you know, that, you know, to go around and kick around, and maybe we can, you know, take some of that meat off that bone and use it as a reference. And that's what I did.
Any comments to those comments?
I kind of think that when you talk about the ball alley right next door to the high school, there's always that possibility we can get, maybe the school be interested in the sports, I mean, athletic department can get a bowling team going or something like that. You know, we have tennis, we have golf, one no bowling. You know, I mean, it's a possibility, it would be nice. And I know that the life skills students, sometimes they take their little trips and stuff, you know, and then they bring them to things like that to get them to, you know, have a little bit of fun and stuff like that, for bowling sometimes. Those life skills is okay. So I kind of like the idea.
I think it would be pretty tough to pull a separate group and do away with the city department. That'd probably be tough. But what I would ask you to do, Thomas, is it sounds like that since you have volunteered to be our project coordinator, that if you could get on the schedule with the FEDC, I think that would give us a communicative link, if you will, to the FEDC. Perhaps they can work on their side of the house to draw, because isn't that one of their functions, one of their missions, is to bring in corporate America? Well, American Machine Foundry, Fort Brunswick are the two major bowling people that I know, and I haven't been. Pete used to carry a big average.
I just think the thing with I used to be in a bowling league, and I like the idea, I do, but I don't think any one of us here can say that we've ever been to a bowling alley that didn't sell alcohol. And I think when you bring in the school's not going to be able to do anything. I don't think you're going to be able to make the money that can be made, like you're saying, at that 4-year turnaround, without the alcohol.
Does the immediately, well, we took a field trip through the school to Pleasant Bowling Alley. And we went into time with the bar.
Where the bar, you have to do it when, that's what I'm saying.
We have to
But
be,
then,
we have
but
to be
then the thing is,
coordinated hours.
you get into a lot of other liabilities when you have to go and pull a permit to sell alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if it's during the school time, and, you know, it's a little bit easier to flex the time schedule during the day. Bars usually don't always, so a lot of bars don't open up in the day, it's mostly in the evening. I mean, but that's something that can be worked out.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but
And
that's what I'm
if it
saying, that's
didn't
stuff
work,
that
okay,
needs to
with
be considered.
Right.
You know, things like that, you know, are we not gonna sell alcohol at all?
Yeah.
Which is, you know, that's fine by me also, but are we gonna have the revenue
Yeah. Well, I mean, if
without that?
Well, if the school doesn't, it doesn't work with the school, it still be a big benefit and revenue
For the city.
For the city,
Yeah.
even without the high school. I just thought that would be something cool, you know what I mean?
Right.
That it's a possibility.
No, it is.
And who
I
knows,
agree.
the
I agree.
athletic department not even like the idea or don't want to be bothered with it. I just threw that in because, you know, working there myself, you know.
Right.
But I mean, for the city, I think it would be a good revenue. I understood, wasn't there a couple of years ago, there was somebody was supposed to build one already?
Well,
I
that's
still hear
Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez was
Rodriguez is
supposed to.
working on that, and I
Yeah.
heard about it, but
He was gonna build.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
and
that.
that's for the guy that went in and asked for that survey,
Yeah.
you know, to be done in the city of Floresville.
Well, you know, I think for this level of what we're trying to do, you know, bring in, again, if you would touch base and get on the FEDC schedule, I'm sure there are state statutes that deal with what you can and can't sell within so many feet of
Yeah.
a school and do whatever.
Yeah.
And I do know that you have an entrepreneur here in the city who's interested in doing that, and that was why the chamber shotgunned those emails out to the members to go with it.
I just look at it that, you know, we can't live off of fundraisers. And we can't live off, we gotta somehow start turning these big wheels very slowly, but get it going, you know.
Well, what about something to do with something that we already have? Like,
That's just where I was going.
we already have a roping arena, as poorly as it is,
Mhm.
and it's pretty shoddy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because every time we use it, which is once a year, we have to go and, you know, take our welding machine, and, I mean, Jason
Fix
goes
it.
and has to redo the whole thing, it's ridiculous. But, we already have that area, I mean, what if you, because roping is huge in this
Right.
area, you know, what if you did something like that, worked with, you know, we're still trying to work with the Little League, but putting on, you know how that one, that, I don't remember who it was, but they came in and they were talking about behind the
Villegas,
events, yeah, doing that,
I didn't bring it.
you know, talking about doing that,
Baseball USA.
yeah, something like that, that would bring in tournaments, something like that, because we already have the land there, that's not as much of an expense. You know, a bowling alley, you're talking about a lot of expense, and I know that you could bring in, but we need to utilize things, in my opinion, that we already have, and that we need to make better things that we, you know, I don't know. And we haven't also, I agree, these little fundraisers are not gonna get us anywhere. But we have not tried because we don't have the 501c3 status yet, but we have got, you know, we need to target some big,
That's right. And that's where
Some
Mr.
big money.
Halliburton was gonna be key. In reference to the Baseball America, that gentleman did present his proposal, I believe, to the mayor, and perhaps Ms. Turner's predecessor, that she may be aware of it, and,
Yeah, I did
and looking to
see
see.
some of those proposals and some of the things in reference to that. And I think, if I may say, I think maybe if I may comment?
Sure, please.
I think some of your ideas is that, from what I read your list, you're looking for the activities, so that we can have activities for the kids. And I mean, building a building is not necessarily, but we have to, about the activities, people need to have something, they need to have something to go to, they need some place to go play, you know, they need to have activity, and the inside bowling alley will be able to do that, and bowling league. I think what we have to start out fundamentally is that I went and excuse us, go get the notebooks, is that everybody has a piece of the park. Some of the parks that we have, the hiking bike trail, is actually technically owned by PBC. we have Masonic Park is ours, and so what I want to be able to do is we need to transfer property so that it's all in the city. Okay, so as we go forward to hold hands and partner to make these improvements, I have to have ownership of them so I can make improvements on them. Even if you're gonna go get grants, you can say, you know, the park commission is going to get a grant in conjunction with the city of Floresville, but I should at least own these parks. So that's one of the fundamental things we have to be able to do. But in reading a total list, it's very comprehensive, because you're looking at the big picture to say, we need to have these activities, family activities, the hike and bike trail activities. I told somebody earlier today, I get so excited when I see the hike and bike trail, that you have a historical bridge that connects it, that goes all the way down, past some place, they keep telling me it goes to Gilead, and I'm not quite sure where Gilead is. It's a Bible connotation, but it's that way down, hike and bike trail,
It starts from San Antonio.
that we can connect it up there, that we can connect and have that hike and bike trail to go over that historical bridge that somebody paid a lot of money to save and relocate there. So if we can focus on, that be the ultimate goal, we have activities and I think I spoke to you guys about that at the Con Park, you can't really ride a bike. And sidewalks are not popular, even though I'm a big thing of sidewalks. So that we can encourage people to get to our parks and walk and be able to connect them and then have a walkable community, and diabetes, we want to be able to fight and have all those wonderful things. But first we have to get our house in order and get all the parks that we own
Together.
in
In
one
one.
location.
Because I don't even think we own the Messiah,
Actually, we do.
do we? 'Cause I was never informed of that.
And this is not, you know, Henrietta Turner, I don't know what I'm
No, I
saying.
understand.
This is what the county's saying, this is what your county assessor is saying. That we own it, and you're right, there's nothing wrong, I mean, because I've asked for, give me what I own, what I own, go around and done
Let
it.
me just, when you said the arena, the problem we have up there, we don't have no power.
What?
We don't have no power, we don't have no restroom.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
but
power.
make that,
Is it?
There's power.
But for the arena?
There's power at the arena, there's power at
yeah, because ours goes into the night.
the concession stand, and in the, there's that old shed there still, it has power there too.
There's
it-
no, there's no
I mean,
bathrooms.
That's.
There's no running water at the concession stand.
Right.
That's a problem.
Well, that's again where it's important for Mr. Robles and Mr. Trevino to start mind melding. In fact, how many times I do that with you yesterday, we did the Vulcan mind meld, because Alex is like the trash pile on Fraggle Rock. If you remember that character, she was all-knowing. Well, I look at Alex because, you know, unlike you didn't get a tour, he spent time with me a year ago this month, and he showed me everything. And it was eye-awakening. I mean, to find out that this man walked over there to the Singing Frog Park when he was first told he was gonna go there and start maintaining it, he wasn't even aware that climbing, whatever it is, spider, monkey, whatever the thing is back there, was even there when he cleaned it. It was my understanding from the mayor, though, that FEDC was gonna transfer the title of that property as well as the skate park. The thing that, like I was talking with you yesterday, without manpower and dollars for the city to arbitrarily accept ownership of stuff without properly budgeting this man's shop to do it, it's like I said, when he told me that they had to cut from County Road 130 to 4 Points on the right-of-way in the median, a handshake between the previous administration and TxDOT, and between Pecan Park and the river, and they got one tractor and an 8-foot shredder. Then when Virgil's committee went away, they're doing the cemetery, our ditches, all the other type things. And right now, in your first interaction with your public at that first city council meeting, you had even mentioned using his resources to get the city's property in compliance. So there's a lot of things that it's on his plate. Thank the Lord that y'all were able to work out financially, because I was on the audit committee, and I know that the supervision job, in fact, Mr. Jocelyn chewed my butt out when I used superintendent on a piece of paper with your name on it. that that position is unfilled. So we could promote Alex and get somebody in there. Then the recreation side of the house, you know, the recreation is nothing more than leisure activities. But where's the program for the kids? You know, at one time Carolyn double dipped, and I think you were sharing her office when y'all were back for 09 and 2010, whatever, where she was FEDC employee, or 4B, whatever it is at the Civic Center, as well as that superintendent. But where are the programs for the kids? So that's where I think we can work the issues too. But again, like you said, until we get some deep pockets and monies to go.
When I first started on the 4A the first time, and before the Civic Center was even built, when we were in the planning stages, I wanted to get on the committee during that time, just to get some stuff going for the kids. I was always for the kids. And everything always turned around towards like, sports events, I mean, like, we call it sports centers and gambling, and I don't know, we went to San Diego and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And it always seemed to get away from, I mean, it got away from my original intent, was to get some functions going here, get some activities for the kids. So then finally, somehow the skate park got thrown in there, which I think is in the wrong location to begin with. But anyways, they got.
That is better than that singing program.
Right, well, yeah, yeah. You know, so I mean, but, so I would like to get back on, I mean, for me, you know, I mean, even for the parks and recreation, I like to get back on and try to get some things, not only just for, I mean, revenue, the city, you know, benefit of the city, but kids, you put kids involved, I mean, for the kids. I mean, that's why I actually started all this stuff, was they try to get stuff with the youth.
But the problem that I see that I personally see, there's no control as far as the parks. Mr. Miller had mentioned one time that the city of Floresville is not into renting business, but you gotta have some type of control to make money, revenues and stuff like that.
Well, just to let people know, budgetary wise, typically parks and children youth activities are not revenue driven.
Correct.
Typically, even the revenue that is raised from them can't pay for the program itself.
Right.
So what you have to do is consider a park as an amenity, as we talked about. It's an amenity, it's a plus, it's something that can, everybody knows what happens. You got to have water, police, fire, those kind of things. We talk about an amenity to do that. It's a cost to do that.
Correct.
But we need to be able to have a program for the kids that have soccer, or football, or basketball, so that somebody can pay for a nominal fee of $30, a sliding scale for those who can afford it. I don't believe in free, only because something's free, nobody really wants it. Even a $5 fee to be able to have to do that. Your basketball fields are definitely used. The one up here is lit in, and I'm from the Chicagoland area. I can't believe you allow people at your park after dark. Where we're from, it gets dark, you can't be in the park.
That's what I've been wanting since I've been here.
You gotta remember when he says that, he gets a call from a lady across the street from the Phillips basketball court where the lights are on after what, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so my son's playing basketball up there, and I'm like, where are you at? He goes, Mom, I'm at the basketball. I'm like, are you kidding? Outside basketball court, and it's still open, it's after dark. So you have that, you have your basketball things that you have to be able to do, you have problems with the restroom. So we want to be able to provide this, but it's not going to be a revenue driven. We do need to have revenue, but it's never going to be able to pay for itself.
Richard, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
just to bring you up to speed, we're still on the citizens' comments.
We have made it very fun. I'm gonna be quiet in a minute.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do is to provide an activity, you're right on the money, an activity, an outlet for people to do. But I think the fundamentals in there, if I can top off Ms. Tally's, just, we have to get the fundamentals. Everybody needs to go see the parks. We need to all have control of the parks. And then we need to be able to really look at having somebody professional, somebody that are playing. Sometimes what you need to do is have somebody who's not anything to say, come in, look at all our parks, and then they say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. This needs to have a top lot, you need to have somebody to have this kind of activity, and then you can agree or disagree with these professionals, and then say, now let's attack how we want to handle our parks. The skate park, I have to agree, is a bad location, because the schools are not really here. I haven't really seen anybody really at the skate park.
Oh, they're there, trust me, they're there.
Well, not doing what this, not using the
Well,
skate
that's,
park.
that's what my negative feelings for it
They're
was. that-
there,
But
but they're
it
not.
comes back to what I said a long, long time ago. I've been involved in youth sports since 1997. And I was in youth sports myself. My parents traveled through all of South Texas, taking me to baseball games. We had to pay a fee to San Marcos. We had to pay a fee to the city of Seguin. We had to pay a fee to the city of Gonzales to go and utilize those fields for our tournaments, because they were city-owned fields, and we don't do that here. We've never done that here. Seguin came to our fields. San Marcos came to our fields. Everyone around came to our fields for free. The concession that was being sold there went to the Little League organization. Not a dime went to the city. We have youth football now since 2004. Again, I was one of the ones that helped start that organization. And again, we came to the city, asked for the city park, go ahead, do it. It's all y'all's. No fees, you know. Granted, the Floresville Little League does pay the partial light bill for the use of the lights at night on the baseball fields, along with the Little League. But we have what everybody else has here. I don't know how many of you guys have gone out, you know, taken your kids out when they're playing baseball or whatever. We've got good fields here. We've got decent fields here. Do they need a little bit of work? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They're not pristine, but they're just as good as everybody else's. But everybody else charges a fee for every team that goes out there. Every organization that plays on their fields, they charge a fee, whether it be $1 per kid that goes out there or whatever, 50 cents, whatever. And with that money, that's what they use to maintain those fields.
Well, I will tell you that I picked up from Ms. Turner yesterday. She was concerned about how the city, and I don't mean to be putting words out of your mouth, but I felt like that she was concerned that the city had basically given away the access permissions, if you will.
Yes.
They could do that.
But
What
who
comes
maintains
to my
them?
mind
The city
immediately,
still
though,
maintains them.
when you do that, I don't mean to point at you, but as a project coordinator, we could sponsor like a 3-on-3 basketball tournament and even target age groups and do it, because, you know, I don't know how many times I went into the Civic Center, I never knew that that facility was left at that huge auditorium over there. And when I found that out, I even talked about we could do challenge pyramids and use the tennis courts. But again, without the backing to do it, now we've got $5,000. I don't know how much it would cost to do flyers, but in today's events thing from the chamber, they're running a big event sometime in early February, and I can't remember what it is.
It's their
I
first,
should've-
their red carpet event.
But that's gonna be a fundraiser for them. Well, we could do the same thing. You know, it's taking time. Now, I will also give us a caveat here, or an excuse. There's only 2 of us that are not full-time employed. Everybody else has got a real job. So unless we go out and get a couple more retirees to get involved with it, it's hard to get things going and get up and go. But we could do something like do a 301 and make that person that calls you when those lights are on late, and we can make some money. One of the other issues that Mr. Robley's brought up, and I went down there part of a meeting with you yesterday, is that I was told that the chain was still up on the river portion of the park. And he told me that it wasn't, so I went down there. And those telephone poles, those red, white, and blue, and parts of it look okay, but when you go back around to where they're not painted, they need to be repaired. I don't know what it would cost for us to do it, but with, you know, a little over $5,000, we ought to be able to do something. You know, to enhance.
$34 an eight for the whole.
He's gonna pull them out and never faces them.
Well, I mean, that's what I have to do. I mean, but I haven't, you know,
But one of the things that he's speaking to, I said, it's the entitlement that I'm new, because you know how new I am to the community. It's the entitlement that people have over your parks, over your baseball fields, and I'm a little control freak, and so I'm having an issue with it. Because if it is a public park, and it's city park, and I know it's not in the city limits, but it's the city park, even by its name, then you may reserve the city park during this time. Any other time, it is a public park. And a public park means anybody in the United States who happens to walk by can stop and play at that park if it hasn't been reserved. So it's the entitlement that I'm having to deal with, that people feel that they are entitled to, it is their fields, because they maintain it in their.
but it's the Floresville Little Leagues from March 1 through November 1.
But that's only the ball fields, right?
The ball field.
People-
Well, the Little League uses almost the entire park.
It cannot be
for
that way.
practice.
It cannot be that way. And the reason why it cannot be that way is because tax dollars, and he'll tell you, I met him very quickly in this meeting, he'll say tax dollars are paying for that. And so Floresville Little League can reserve the park, and they can have the park, but they cannot tell me who can play on their park, they cannot tell other people you cannot play. If they're not having a game, or a reserve team practice, then if they can tell me who you. It's like, I told somebody, it's an analogy of, I have a cabin, I have my second house, I let you vacation at my cabin. You can't then tell me, oh yeah, my cousin's coming, but you can't come back to your house until I'm done with it. It doesn't work that way. And so we have to think about providing for the public.
Okay.
We have to think about providing those things to the public
Here,
and how
you
to
would
do that.
take the,
And even the community center, because you all are
you got
Floresville
what's
Park,
in here, sign it,
you may have one anytime you want
let's review it.
at no cost, because it is a city
Did I give you a
event.
copy of the balance?
Yes.
And I need you all to understand that. If you wanna have a 3-on-3 basketball thing or whatever, you just have to go and say, here's the time, block it out, and because you are Floresville Park, right? That's what you're doing.
Parks Foundation.
Then it's yours to use. I'm not asking you for a fee. It's yours to use. All I'm asking you to do is to book the time. Okay? Now, that does not gonna work for Mr. Youth down there in Post or whoever who comes in and wants to do a 3-on-3 basketball. He has to pay, okay? But it's your house and you get profits. That's how we have to do it. Okay? So you can have your event.
July 2 years ago, when we did the Wilson County Fairgrounds out there at that big pavilion, was there a rental fee on that? Do you recall?
Yeah.
Yeah, we paid for that.
So there are some incomes that are available that come to you, to the city,
But
for those pavilions, but
parks,
yeah, I understand about the tar.
parks, we wanna provide the amenities, we wanna provide the service.
Right.
But see, there's a lot of things that need to be discussed and talked about, because during the Fourth of July, when I was in the process of the Freedom Fest, what stopped me to that minute was because they said that according to the charter, you can sell beer. And, you know, I haven't looked at the charter, that, you know, you can't have a fest and you can't sell no alcohol.
But they had the beer barn over here off of the railroad tracks.
But you know what I'm saying? And that's where, you know, it was, to me, it was like a lot of jealousy or pity.
Well, I think you all, I think I was struggling with when that you're gonna visit your parks. We're working on getting them all together. I'll pull out the parks and I have a description of them and who owns them and get it to you.
Okay.
It has like a little thing you have from us, so we can be able to do that, so everybody can have it, I'll share with you. And then we'll move forward, going forward.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
He's up
You have
here.
strayed from the agenda.
Okay.
No, I'm still on the citizen comments.
So
Yes, but citizen comment items usually are reserved for the chairman of the board saying, okay, we will agree to put that on the next agenda.
So I'll get that to you,
Oh, okay.
and
Thank you.
then you can
Stand
share it.
corrected.
Okay?
Okay, we'll get back into it then. On the official side of the house, the treasurer is out of town, and the new balance is $5,417.15.
The bylaws, you got a bylaws?
Here you go. You take one down to Richard too. Okay, that's the new business one. The second bullet, as of last Friday, I received a documentation that not only
Agenda?
the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts says we're good to go out of the franchise tax, and then the Secretary of State reinstated, and we have the right to conduct business. Everything here is informational, except on the bylaws. I'm gonna skip down to 4. I sent out the bylaws, and the only thing that you're gonna see different in the bylaws of what I sent out is that I've added the June conflict of interest policies. I did not want the signatures to go out, so I just typed in signed, and then I put the date of your signatures off the original document. And according to our charter, and our bylaws there, rather, it says we're gonna do an annual review. So since this is our annual meeting, and you can read to do your own review, and if you would, fill out the form and sign it. Give it back to me. I will keep that. I will then scan it into the USB hard drive that I have. And again, your signatures will go nowhere. And once we get established running again, I will give that USB hard drive to the secretary. Hopefully you'll see when you look at the bylaws too, to prevent the same type of in the Air Force, we call it a random variable. Spells out specific duties for the president to include the designated agent, which is required by the Secretary of State, the different forms, responsibilities for the treasurer to do the 990s for the IRS, and any of the applicable state forms. And then for the secretary to ensure that the required state documents are forwarded if and when there's changes that require those particular documents to go forward. I put a the original bylaws had us with a 3-year tenure. So I put in there a 2-year tenure for the 4 officers. And then on the conflict of interest, everything is exactly the same, except you will not see signatures. So complete those forms and give them back. We're good to go. Since I did not get any responses back from the emails, the footer shows the effective date as of today. We did have a quorum, and even with Alex leaving, we still have a quorum. I need a motion to approve the bylaws, unless you have something that you see that we need to fix. And if you do see there's something needs to be fixed, I'll entertain a motion with, point out what needs to be fixed, and then I'll fix it and get it back out. Yes, ma'am.
The bylaw, okay, so what are we gonna do about this 6:30? Are we gonna discuss this? What we wanna do, because Alex said he can't be here until.
Okay, what Michelle was saying is that one of the changes that I made to this one was that at one of the previous meetings, obviously it was the October or the September, people were being pressed to make it here by 6 o'clock. So the intent was to move it back to 6:30. So we still now have a problem with one of the directors not being able to make the 6:30, so if we don't want to make a motion to approve it, we can entertain a motion to table it until time that we can get together. And then I guess the other thing that I ought to ask of the city manager is that if Alex is not here, if we move it back, what would be the possibility of being given the code access so that we can enter the building?
You need that? Is that how much you want?
So I was gonna knock on your window at about 10, because I saw your car sitting out
I'm
there.
here.
But anyhow,
Yeah, we can make an arrangement working to give them the access working to that, because planning and zoning and other meetings meeting here as well. Those should be about.
okay. I'll just take it between me and the vice president, so we can get in on the doors for you. So I guess we need some discussion, what are we gonna do with the bylaws? We wanna do a motion to accept them, or we wanna table it? Which means that you guys and gals are gonna have to provide me some input as to what you want to do. I can be here anytime.
But what's stated in here now, 6:30?
Yeah, the regular
Yes.
meeting.
Right. But
Based
it's wrong
upon
with
the-
Alex, no matter what we do, 6 to 6:30, right? Just go, Alex,
He's tied into a 7 o'clock appointment at church, that's what he just said.
okay.
And I know Cindy's not here tonight because she has a mandatory
Yeah, with the school.
at the school, when she's got a senior. And I think it was she who pushed to move it back because she comes from San Antonio, where she works.
Are y'all, is there a problem with your times with you? I know
I mean, there's
with,
no, I mean,
I know with Janelle, 6:30 would be best. Me, I'm flexible.
Yeah, I'll go over 6:37. I don't.
Okay, with that discussion then,
I'll make a
Then I'll-
motion to- Make a motion to accept the bylaws as is.
as is. Okay, we have a motion by Michelle
I'll
to
second.
accept them as is.
No,
We
second.
have a second by George. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, we're good to go. Last but not least, y'all have a great
and when do you want these?
2000 right now.
We need a motion to, yeah.
So we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
How about
motion to
that? Less than an
adjourn.
hour. Got a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, folks, I like the discussion portion that we had.
More productive than the meeting, so.
Yeah, so that.
Come to you on